Every year, hundreds of thousands of people go missing around the world. In the vast majority of these cases, there is a logical, albeit tragic, explanation. They ran away to start a new life. They fell victim to a crime. They succumbed to the elements in a harsh environment. We can trace the steps, we can find the clues, and eventually, we can close the file. Logic prevails. But then, there are the other cases. The ones that sit in the cold case files, not because of a lack of evidence, but because the evidence we do have points to something that shouldn't be possible. These are the cases where people don't just disappear, they seem to evaporate. Tracks that stop abruptly in the snow. Voices heard on the wind where no one stands. Entire families acting under a shared, dark delusion before walking into the oblivion together. In these rare, chilling instances, standard investigations hit a wall. And when logic fails, we are left staring into the abyss of the impossible. We are forced to consider that perhaps, just perhaps, something else took them. Something unseen. Tonight, we are opening the files on 4 specific disappearances where the boundary between the real world and the supernatural didn't just blur, it shattered. These are the top 4 unexplained disappearances inextricably linked to the paranormal. We begin in December of 1900 on a jagged, desolate cluster of rocks off the coast of Scotland known as the Flannan Isles. It is a place of brutal beauty, whipped by the Atlantic winds, home to nothing but seabirds and a solitary lighthouse. On December 26th, a relief ship, the Hesperus, arrived at the island. The crew immediately noticed something was wrong. The flag was missing from the flagpole. The provision boxes had been left on the landing rock, uncollected. And most chilling of all, no one came down to the jetty to greet them. The relief keeper, Joseph Moore, rowed ashore and walked up the long, winding stairs to the lighthouse. He found the gate closed and the door unlocked. Inside, the scene was frozen in time. In the kitchen, a meal of mutton and potatoes sat on the table, cold and half-eaten. A chair was toppled over, as if someone had jumped up in a sudden panic. But the 3 keepers, James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, were gone. The official explanation was that a rogue wave had swept them all away. A tragic accident. But the details found in the lighthouse logbook tell a much darker, more inexplicable story. The log entries leading up to the disappearance describe a storm. A storm so violent that the seasoned keepers were terrified. One entry noted that Duckett, a man with years of experience, was very quiet. Another stated that Marshall, a hardened sailor, had been crying. The final entry, written on December 15th, simply read, "Storm ended, sea calm. God is over all." Here is the problem: there was no storm. Weather reports from the surrounding area and ships passing nearby confirmed that the weather on the Flannan Isles between December 12th and 15th was calm and clear. The sea was peaceful. Yet, these 3 men, isolated on a rock in the middle of the ocean, were documenting a tempest that didn't exist in our reality. They were terrified of a storm that no one else could see or feel. Local folklore had long held that the Flannan Isles were home to the Phantom of the 7 Hunters, spirits who resented human intrusion. Visitors were known to perform rituals to appease these entities before setting foot on the rock. Did the keepers encounter a psychic storm? Did they see something rising from the Atlantic that their minds interpreted as a tempest? Why did seasoned sailors weep in fear during calm weather? The only clue left behind was a set of oilskins, rain gear. 2 of the 3 sets were missing, but the 3rd set, belonging to Donald MacArthur, was still hanging on its peg. Experienced keepers would never leave the lighthouse during a storm without their gear. It suggests that whatever happened, happened inside, or happened so fast that MacArthur had no time to prepare. They vanished into a storm that didn't exist, leaving behind a cold meal and a century of questions. To this day, the Flannan Isles remain a place of unease, where the wind sounds suspiciously like the voices of 3 lost men. In the southwestern corner of Vermont lies an area known as the Bennington Triangle. Much like its famous cousin in Bermuda, this patch of dense forest centered around Glastonbury Mountain has a history of swallowing people whole. Native American lore warned against the mountain long before European settlers arrived, calling it a cursed place where the four winds met, a place where the ground would swallow you if you stepped on it wrong. Between 1945 and 1950, 5 people vanished in this exact area. No bodies were found. No clues were left behind. But the most haunting case is that of Paula Weldon. Paula was an 18-year-old sophomore at Bennington College. On December 1st, 1946, she decided to go for a hike on the long trail. She was dressed distinctly in a bright red coat, a garment that should have made her impossible to miss against the gray winter woods. Several people saw her that day. A local resident gave her directions. A couple hiking about 100 yards behind her saw her turn a corner on the trail. They reached the same corner moments later, expecting to see her red coat up ahead. But the trail was empty. There were no side paths. The woods were open enough to see through. She hadn't had time to run out of sight. In the span of seconds, between one heartbeat and the next, Paula Weldon had simply ceased to exist. A massive search was launched. The FBI, the National Guard, and hundreds of volunteers combed every inch of that mountain. Aircraft swept the canopy. They found nothing. No footprints in the soft mud. No shred of her bright red coat. It was as if she had been plucked from the earth by a giant hand. What makes this truly paranormal are the reports that followed. During the search, and for years after, locals reported seeing strange lights hovering over Glastonbury Mountain. Others reported intense feelings of dread, of being watched by something unseen in the tree-line. And then, there were the whispers of the Bennington Monster, a Bigfoot-like creature said to stalk the ridge. But the weirdness didn't stop with Paula. 3 years later, James Tedford vanished from a moving bus in the same area. He was there at the start of the journey, sleeping in his seat. When the bus arrived at Bennington, his luggage was still in the rack, and a bus timetable lay open on his empty seat. He had vanished from inside a vehicle while it was in motion. Then, 8-year-old Paul Jepson disappeared while his mother fed some pigs. She turned her back for a moment, and he was gone. Search dogs tracked his scent to a highway, and then, nothing. The scent just stopped, as if he had been lifted into the air. The clustering of these disappearances, the complete lack of physical evidence, and the sudden, impossible nature of the vanishings point to something beyond a simple serial killer or animal attack. The Bennington Triangle seems to be a soft spot in reality, a place where the rules of physics are optional, and where Paula Weldon walked around a corner and stepped out of our world entirely. In 2009, the disappearance of the Jamison family in Oklahoma captivated and terrified the nation. Bobby, his wife Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison vanished while looking for land to buy in the Sans Bois Mountains. 4 years later, their skeletal remains were found, lying face down, side by side in the dirt, 3 miles from their abandoned truck. While the cause of death could not be determined, the events leading up to their final trip paint a picture of a family under siege by dark, paranormal forces. In the weeks before they vanished, Bobby and Sherilyn's behavior had become erratic and disturbing. They had installed a high-tech security system around their home, claiming they were being watched. They both lost immense amounts of weight. But it wasn't just paranoia. They believed they were engaged in spiritual warfare. Sherilyn told friends that the family was under attack by demons. She claimed that the spirits of a long-dead family haunted their house. Bobby, seemingly possessed, had asked their pastor for special bullets to shoot these spirits. Sherilyn wrote witches' lists on notebook paper, claiming neighbors were casting hexes on them. Even 6-year-old Madison wasn't spared. She had reportedly begun talking to a friend that no one else could see. The most chilling piece of evidence is the security footage from outside their home on the day they left. In the video, Bobby and Sherilyn are seen packing their truck. They move in a trance-like state. They don't speak to each other. They walk back and forth, loading items, then unloading them, stopping to stare blankly into space. They move with a heavy, robotic slowness, like puppets being guided by unseen strings. It is deeply unsettling to watch. When their truck was found abandoned, the family dog, Maisie, was still inside, barely alive, starving. Also inside were their wallets, IDs, phones, and $32,000 in cash tucked under the seat. No one leaves 32,000 behind willingly. But most strangely, a witch's Bible was found in the vehicle. The theories run wild. Was it a drug deal gone wrong? A murder-suicide? Or did the demons they feared finally win? The area where their bodies were found is known for strange phenomena, including rumors of cult activity and unexplained noises. But the detail that haunts investigators is a photo found on Sherilyn's phone. It's a picture of Madison. In the photo, the little girl is standing with her arms crossed, looking unhappy, staring away from the camera. But the angle is wrong. Based on the metadata and the background, the person taking the photo would have to be floating several feet off the ground or be exceptionally tall. The family believed they were being hunted by something non-human. Looking at that final photo and the trance-like state they were in before they vanished, it's hard to shake the feeling that they were being herded to their doom by something that wanted their souls, not their money. Our final story brings us to the modern era, to the age of YouTube and digital footprints. It is the story of Kenny Veach, a 47-year-old hiker who loved the solitude of the Nevada desert. Kenny was an experienced outdoorsman who often went on long, solo hikes near Nellis Air Force Base, exploring abandoned mine shafts and caves. In 2014, Kenny commented on a YouTube video about Area 51. He claimed that during one of his hikes, he had found a strange cave shaped like a perfect capital M. He wrote, "I always enter every cave I find, but as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly, I became very scared and hightailed it out of there." Kenny wasn't a man easily scared. He had handled rattlesnakes and explored deep mines without fear. But this vibration, this physical rejection by the cave itself, terrified him. The internet, being the internet, challenged him. Commenters dared him to go back. They wanted proof. They wanted to see the M cave. Kenny, perhaps feeling his bravery was in question, accepted the challenge. He armed himself with a video camera and a 9mm handgun and set out to find the cave again. He posted a video of his search. In it, he is alone in the stark, unforgiving desert. He climbs steep ridges, looks into abandoned shafts. He doesn't find the M cave that day, but the video is eerie. He talks about the silence, the isolation. He seems slightly off, a little too manic. Undeterred, Kenny announced he was going back for a third time. He told his family he was going on a short overnight trip. He packed light. He took his camera, and he walked into the desert, never to be seen again. A massive search and rescue operation was launched. They found his car parked near an old mine shaft. Later, they found his cell phone, lying on the ground near the opening of a vertical mine shaft. But they never found Kenny. They never found his camera. And they never found the M cave. What happened to Kenny Veach? The logical explanation is that he fell into a mine shaft, or succumbed to the heat, or perhaps even staged his disappearance. But the vibration he described is a detail that lingers. In paranormal lore, intense vibration or infrasound is often associated with interdimensional portals or alien encounters. It is said to be the physical sensation of a frequency incompatibility between two realities. Did Kenny stumble upon something the military was hiding near Area 51? Did he find a geological anomaly that affected the human nervous system? Or did he find the entrance to something ancient, something that uses vibration as a warning system? One theory suggests that the M cave wasn't a fixed location, but a transient one, a door that opens and closes. Kenny found it once and was warned away. He went back, and the door was closed. He went back a third time, and perhaps the door was open, and he walked through, leaving his phone behind as a final anchor to a world he was leaving forever. We live in a world of maps, GPS, and constant surveillance. We like to believe that every inch of our planet is charted and known. We like to believe that if someone goes missing, there is a physical reason, a slip on a rock, a bad encounter with a stranger. But these 4 stories challenge that safety. They remind us that there are still holes in our map. There are places in the ocean where storms appear only to the doomed. There are forests that can swallow a girl in a red coat in the blink of an eye. There are energies that can drive a family to madness, and caves that vibrate with a warning to stay away. The unsettling truth is that we don't know what happened to these people. They didn't just die, they exited the narrative of our reality. And until we find them, or until we understand the forces that took them, we are left with the chilling realization that sometimes the things that go bump in the night might just be the world itself, opening up to take one of us back into the dark.